Good evening, Hopkinton, and welcome to the Hopkinton Hangout Hour. I am your host for this evening, Jim Cousins, and I'm very happy that you have joined us, whether you're watching us live on HCAM TV or catching us on a replay. We are all about all the events and interesting people in Hopkinton and what they have going on. And tonight, we're going to be talking to a couple of representatives from the Hopkinton Lions Club with some of the interesting activities that they are working on and fundraisers that they are planning for in this time. So I have Mike Tarsi and D.N. Charka with me here tonight. And gentlemen, welcome.
Tim, great to be here. Thanks for having us.
Hello, D.N.
Yes.
All right. Now, before we start talking about those things, I would like to, because I haven't met D.N. before, I'd like to ask, D.N., how did you come to be connected or involved with the Lions Club?
Well, we moved to Hopkinton, about 12 years ago. And I basically, work for a pharmaceutical company, the executive for the pharmaceutical company, and interested in the social work. And then I just found in the Hopkinton news that there is a Hopkinton Lions Club, and I joined it 2 years ago. And
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I really liked that this we serve, the community, and that is, the mission for the Hopkinton Lions Club is, and we got involved into various activities, for the diabetes, and for also, for the food, for the
Mm-hmm.
poor, and for the various other activities.
Right. Now, is the Hopkinton Lions Club the first interaction you've had with a Lions Club?
Yeah, that's the first one. But I had been, the president for the India Association of Greater Boston, and I
Mhm.
have been involved, with the various social and as well as, the activities. So I'm also, the Democrat, for the last 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Okay.
came, in the USA in 1970 as an immigrant of Indian
Mhm.
origin, and I have been now a US citizen. And now for about 50 years, I'm over here. Less time in India, 27 years and 50 years in America.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A true American, Deanne. So, I find it really interesting because my father was a Lions for 50 years. He was a founding member of the Lions Club in his community, and I remember many things growing up through there. Back in those days, they used to walk around with big cardboard boxes of light bulbs, and that was a fundraiser for them. They would sell light bulbs, and we had an Oktoberfest that they would run, and they did a car show for many years. So it's all different, interesting types of activities that they do. And I find it's very fascinating because while an individual Lions Club may be known for a big event that they do, it's always community centered, whether it be in your local town's community or in the greater community, such as collecting eyeglasses. That's a big thing that Lions have always done too. So, Deanne, you said about 2 years, right? You joined about 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay. And Mike, how long have you been a Lion?
Actually, I think Deanne and I both joined at about the same time. So I've been in Hopkinton close to 5 years right now. My wife and I moved up here from New Jersey when my job brought me up here, and I'm kind of past the age where I'm coaching Little League and doing that kind of stuff. I was looking for something to do around town, and I saw the Lions Club involved with a couple things around town, and I think the same thing that happened with Deanne, just got in touch with them, and it's a good little active group of people. I think it's got a long history in Hopkinton. I think a number of people have kind of aged out and moved out. So we're down to like about a dozen or so folks now, but it looks like we're on the verge to grow again. And I think, especially once COVID ends, we'll get back into the swing of participating in a lot of community activities and doing a lot of stuff around town here.
Right. So you know what? I'm not going to count last year. I'm not going to count the last 12 months. So let's talk about the year before that. What were some of the favorite activities that you were involved in that you enjoyed or you got a lot of satisfaction out of for what they were trying to accomplish? What have you done that you've liked?
Deanne, you want to go? Yeah, why don't you start off here?
I think that we had, one diabetes, awareness forum in 2019. And then, we started with that, and we had that in the Hopkinton library at the time. We didn't have the virtual. So actually the response was pretty good. We had almost about 25, 30 people, at the at the forum. And then we had the experts, talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that diabetes is one of the area where we want to make the people aware of that, and that is also in the chapter of the Lions Club, that they want to make the people aware of about some of these side effects, especially if it is not controlled or not managed. And I am myself a diabetes, but not, and I have gone through for the last 25, 30 years. So the complication it can get to people with the kidneys and with the eye problem, with the diabetic retinopathy and with the cardiac. So basically, I think that this forum will teach with the experts how to basically manage and control diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
It will be useful for them and to prevent, some of the side effects of that.
Yes, yes. How about you, Mike?
Well, I think actually the first time I bumped into the Lions Club around here was at Hopkinton Day, and I noticed that they were running a dunk tank down at Hopkinton Day on the football field, and it was just a fun little thing that you could tell all the kids were having a blast. Everything from the 5-year-olds up to the high school baseball players were all, it was just a good thing to do, and that just kind of brought a smile to my face. It was just a nice way to help out that afternoon. And then another thing that we've done that actually we did manage to pull off even with COVID, I know you said, last year was a bust, is the Massachusetts State Lions sponsor a speech contest every year. And there's a topic that's announced. I think this year's topic is winning everything. And we every local club that's interested runs a contest, and winner of that then moves on up to like the county level and so on up, and the state final of that is coming up in a couple of weeks. But just seeing we get like 4 or 5 or 6 of the high school students involved with that speech contest every year, and I'm just very, very impressed with what I see coming out of the high school here, and the work that's put in by the students on that. That again is it's just nice to see that the Lions Club can help make things like that happen in the community. And I really felt good about that, and I think that's something we will definitely keep going in the foreseeable future.
Right. It's definitely an organization that is just so hyper local. People in their town who are helping to make not only an impact around the world, but also within their own community. So, Deanne, I'd like to turn back to you for a moment because you've mentioned diabetes a few times. And now I am not sure, like I know the Lions have always been big in sight and in glasses, and they have the sight mobile that goes around. Has diabetes been, and I'm sorry that I don't know this answer, has diabetes been a topic for Lions in general, or is what you're doing now kind of like coming in the Hopkinton Lions Club?
No, I think this is very much into the Lions Club, and it recognizing the diabetes as a global epidemic affecting the increasing number of men, women, and children all over the world. So this is actually the LCI, Lions Club. We see and feel the effects of diabetes in our communities and are doing something about it together. So it's very much comes from the Lions Club, mission, to one the diabetes, and also the eyeglasses is another area, where they are very dominant, where they want to serve the people. So,
Right.
so diabetes, I also picked up basically when I became member. My background is in pharmaceuticals. I
Mm-hmm.
worked, with the major pharmaceutical companies. So I'm very much familiar with diabetes and cancer and all these diseases. So when I joined the Lions Club, I mentioned, I said one area where I will help to promote, some of these, diabetes awareness and some of these forums. So
Hmm.
we could have, one on cancer,
Yeah.
and one on, then also, the COVID. I had been actually very active on COVID also, on all these Facebook, and during the epidemic, I have been, putting, the on the Twitter, on the Facebook, and all these, the things about the COVID, the prevention, and all that things, and the vaccine, and building people's confidence also. This is another thing. Even with vaccine, there are couple of components of that. That there is a vaccine, and the people have to feel confident and also feel good about the positivity, which also helps them, to go through the epidemic.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I agree with you. Um, so let's talk a little bit about what you have coming up uh, related to diabetes in May. What's the Lions Club doing?
Okay, I'll be happy to. We have this forum coming up on May 12th at 6 o'clock. And this will be, of course, Zoom, and platform will be virtual. And we have basically, in this forum, the experts will be talking about how to control and manage diabetes. They will talk about diet, exercise. They will also talk about some of the side effects to prevent them, like cardiac, diabetic retinopathy, or kidneys. And we have, also the feature, those experts. One is Karen Guru Poso. She's a nurse, and she's also a diabetes education coordinator at Milford Hospital. We also have one of the featured speaker is Kim Min-young, and she has also written a book about nutrition, and she has also been at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, Boston Medical Center, Newton Wellesley Hospitals. She has worked in all these places. And she's going to talk about the diet. And Dr. Stephen Perryman is an OD, he's a Hopkinton Vision Center, and he's going to talk about the side effects, the diabetes lead to with the eyes or with the cardiac or with the kidneys or the health. So we have a team of experts who are basically handling diabetes from all angles, exercise, diet, as well as, the side effects and how to prevent and control the diabetes.
Right. Wow, that is quite a distinguished panel, as they say. There's a lot of knowledge on that panel.
That's
Now,
what we basically had, been contacting with this team, and finally we were able to put it together, and in this environment, with the virtual, and we got some featured speakers, to talk about it.
right. That's great. So May 12th, that's a Wednesday evening.
Yeah. Thank you.
About 3 weeks from tonight.
Yeah.
Now, what would you say? Is this informational forum geared towards people who have diabetes, or people to be aware of if they may be at risk of diabetes, or anybody, or what are you thinking?
It can actually, you mentioned it can be, for the one who have the diabetes, because they can better manage and control their diabetes.
Okay.
And also it will make you aware of some people who are kind of pre-diabetes,
Yeah.
and it will kind of help them to have some knowledge about it, so that they do not, you know, basically eat too much sugar, or so know how much they can control with their diet and how much they can control with the exercise.
Right.
It will be helpful basically, for both the people who have diabetes as well as the people who are kind of pre-diabetes or who don't have it, and to
Yeah.
prevent.
Right. I think that's really awesome. In my life, I've been fortunate enough, I've had examples on both ends of the spectrum where someone I know took care of themselves and another person tried to ignore that they had diabetes, and they had radically different outcomes.
Exactly.
And, one of the things I say, kind of like having, diabetes is kind of like it's a lifestyle, and it's actually a healthy lifestyle. You got to be a little bit more aware of what's going on, but you can take care of yourself and you can really you can really do well for a long time with it.
Yeah, I had diabetes actually for the last 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically managing and controlling the diabetes. You know?
Yeah. So how do you, so just a quick aside, Dan, what's the difference between 30 years ago and now for you managing diabetes?
Well, I think the main difference is that when you initially get it, then you are kind of, like in somewhat, shock, and you want to do it, you are more serious about it. But as you progress, although you should, maintain the diet and the exercise and the medication, you have that routine. So, but over the years also, you are not as strict as what you are in the beginning, you know
Okay.
and you still want to lead your life, and sometimes, you can have, maybe you have to be still very careful that when you are eating especially sugar or the sweets, and
Yeah.
I love sweets, so it is very difficult, it's very tempting, you know but
Yeah.
you still have to kind of control it. And actually then you have the family, my daughters and my wife, actually they control me,
Yeah.
and they tell me, hey, listen, no, 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 don't eat too much cake, you know, give me a bite. They say, okay, you can have a bite,
Yeah.
so that you are not missing too much and have a little bit of that.
Right.
But
Right.
family plays a lot of part on this.
Yes. Yeah. That's a very important point. All right. So that's awesome. That's coming up on May 12th and sounds like a real important thing with a very learned panel sharing information. So appreciate the Lions Club for helping put that together. Mike, shall we transition over to what's coming up after? What's next up on the Hopkinton Lions agenda after that?
Okay, sure. I'd be glad to jump into that. Let me actually finish up Deanne's talk here with saying that he put a lot of information out there. We've got this on our website. If people who are watching this trying to scribble it down, hopkintonlions.org. On our main page, we've got a section called upcoming events. And if you look at the upcoming events, you see on Wednesday the 12th is the diabetes forum, and there's a little link. So if you click on that, this gives, I believe, all the information that Deanne talked about, the three speakers, when it's going to be, and so on. At the bottom left, you see we'll have a link there for people to register and the Zoom address. That's not quite there yet. I just wanted to point this out to people that there's a lot of information on our website about what's coming.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And also, you don't need to go back to that site, but another upcoming event, something else we have going on is the week after that on Saturday, the 22nd of May, we're holding what we're calling the Hopkinton Community Yard Sale. Now, this has been done in the last several years, especially before I had gotten involved with the club. I think COVID put the kibosh on it last year. What this is we're basically supporting people having yard sales in their own yard. It's not like we're having one common place in town. Everybody can set up their own yard sale. But if you register with us, we will take care of all the advertising in the local press. We'll create signs you have to put in your yard and around town about this. We will put out a map indicating all the people in town who have registered to participate in this. So in one glance, you could see all the places throughout Hopkinton where to go. Folks that are having a yard sale on the day of the 22nd. I think for those people who are interested in selling things in their yard, I think the registration fee is $25. That covers our costs of advertising and signs and putting the map together and all that. Here again on our website, the same way we just linked to Deancing, there's another link to a page for the yard sale explaining what's going on, with a place where you can click and register and pay the cost with PayPal and join into this. Now, we've already got, I think, 7 families, and this thing's a little more than a month away. It's about a month away right now, but we've got 7 families already have signed up, and we really haven't done much publicity on this yet. So we figure this is going to be a good deal. And I think just the fact of being participating in a day where there's going to be a lot of yard sales around town, I think this will drive a bunch of people out to see what's available. So that's the other thing we're putting together in the month of May.
Okay, that's great. That's great. I have seen those before, and it's just like a fun day. Just a fun day, just driving around, seeing what's going on. I like that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, and it is, and I think the fact that this is almost the more the merrier. The more families participate, the more people will be interested in grabbing a map and seeing what's available around town, and I think there'll be a good turnout. So that's at this point, that's coming up. We have a couple other things in the works, but we can't. Once things solidify again, we will update stuff and put publicity out. We're looking to do a fundraising, I guess we call it a golf ball raffle or a golf ball challenge, where for whatever the ticket price is, you can buy a golf ball, and then we'll take a bunch of golf balls. And I think we're working with the fire department to take them up on the top of their ladder and dump them off in a field where there's a golf pin set up in the field, and whoever's closest, whichever ball is closest to the pin, wins the contest. I think there's a couple other things like farthest from the pin and so on and so on. But we're working through the final details of that, all appropriate permits and whatnot. But we will be sure to announce that when that comes. That'll be sometime after the May event. So we figure that's probably a June kind of thing. But again, once we can nail down the details, we'll let everybody know about that.
Okay, great. So the diabetes forum, I get that's very easy, right? You're connecting our community with some people who have good knowledge that is important for people living with diabetes to know and to understand. And the golf ball drop, well, actually the community yard sale is kind of like a fun service that you're doing. You're not going to make a lot of money off it because you're going to be printing out the maps and everything like that. And then the golf ball thing at some point in the future is kind of a fundraiser. Can one of you give me just a couple of examples of when you raise funds with fundraisers? What do you do with the funds?
Sure, I'll be glad to talk about that. Well, Deanne mentioned Lions Club International. The International Lions Club has a foundation, the LCIF, Lions Club International Fund. And this is, I think, the largest charitable organization, largest charitable fund in the world. I could be mistaken on that, but it's certainly up there. We're talking about hundreds of millions and billions of dollars. And that goes through everything from disaster relief to making eye care clinics available throughout the world and so on. It also is used for local clubs. Like if our local club wanted to do something and we needed some money to get it started, we could submit a grant request to this Lions Club International Fund, and then they would, if it was worthy, they would then fund the money back to us for something. So one of the things is that as many local Lions clubs as can try to contribute to this overall fund. In addition to that, we make donations to local charities. We've done work with Project Just Because. I know there's a new Hopkinton emergency fund that just got set up that we made a contribution to. So there's other local charity, Massachusetts Eye Research, I think it's another thing that we've contributed to. And some of the funds will stay local that the club will use locally. I mentioned the speech contest. I think there's a $100 reward for that. So we will sponsor that award and whatever other kind of local things we can find again. But I mentioned a couple of things like this new emergency fund and Project Just Because. So we're looking for local places where we can contribute money, as well as the international fund, which does good deeds throughout the world, but also can feed back to help the local clubs if we have some special project where we need some funding.
All right, that's great. Now, our time is growing short. We just have a couple of minutes left. Before I lose this, I just want to make sure that if you our viewers at home, the website address will be in the end credits, so you can catch it there too. And right now, I'd like to give both Deanne and Mike an opportunity. If people are listening to this and thinking that Lions Club, that sounds pretty cool, and how do I get involved? And what is it going to be like? Am I going to be, have heaps of commitments put on me? Is this a men's only club? Things like that. So give us some details about how people join the Lions Club and recruitment.
Sure, Deanne, I'll be glad to do that.
Sure, go ahead, and I can add a couple of things.
Okay, yeah. So the Lions Club is, while it's a formal organization, it's fairly loose as far as how we plan things and run things and all that. We meet once a month. We've been doing this over the last year. We've been doing it virtually, and that's when we plan these events, and people will volunteer to do things. We understand everybody's got commitments. The members with young kids have certain commitments. Some of us that are retired or the kids are grown, we may have a little bit more time here and there to do stuff. So there's no push, but I found that everybody in the club likes to get involved with these things. We hold one of the events was a special day with Santa for special needs kids, where they don't like they can't handle real excitable kind of parties. So we have a very low key party with Santa, and almost the entire club shows up and puts on little elf hats and hands out goodies and things. So it's people help out where they have the time. If people are interested, here again, I can direct them to the website, which you said you will show at the end. There's a little blurb on the front page that says, if you're interested, click here. You can see a little bit more about the club. One of the website pages shows all the activities we've done, and there's a way to get in touch with us. There's a link. I think the email, if you want to directly just send email to hopkintonlions@gmail.com, that will come to me or some of the other members of the club. We'll be glad to get back in touch with you, talk to you, one-on-one in more detail about what's going on. As a matter of fact, since the last HCAM cast we did several months ago, we've had 3 people who have contacted us and said they're interested, and we're now trying to pull them in. There's no big membership issue. I think once you're in, dues are something nominal, like $60 a year, but it's not men and women. There, some chapters even have high school groups. We don't have that, but we do have, we're split between men and women in the club. Yeah, so again, look at the website, send email hopkintonlions@gmail.com, and we'd love to hear from you. We're looking to grow the club a little. We know that the more people we have, the more things we can do around town.
Deanne, Deanne, you have 30 seconds. What can you add to that?
Basically, I would say that the good thing about the Hopkinton Lions Club, it is a small club. People can get involved. And then the time constraints are basically depends upon each individual, how much they want to contribute. And so that's the best part about it. And also this is, the impression is sometimes these clubs have, a lot of big fees, and the Hopkinton Lions Club, basically the fee is $60, and it is not like, thousands of dollars, So it is, and it also gives, a good cause to get involved, with the community. And I am particularly very satisfied, that I've been able to get involved. And by the way, I think for the retired people, this is excellent way of spending time. And I'm in that stage, I'm an active retiree, So for them, I think it is a good thing to do, get involved with the community. And also then you meet, young folks like Mike.
Yeah.
So this is another advantage, that you meet young people, I love, that part of it too, because when you are in the organization, when you see the young people, and especially the speech contest, Mike was mentioning, you get involved with the school, you get involved with the kids.
Wonderful. Well, I think that all of you The men and women of the Hopkinton Lions Club do a fantastic job for our community. You're one of the reasons that Hopkinton is a great place to live and to work. So I thank you for being here and talking about it, and for the work that you do for our community.
Jim, you're very welcome. Thanks for the opportunity to spend
Thank you,
some time
Jim.
with you.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon.
Sure.
Talk to you more.
We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
bye.
Bye-bye.
And thank you all for watching this episode, and we hope to see you back soon on the next Hopkinton Hangout Hour. Good night, everyone.